I added this streaming component to bridge my existing stereo gear with a multi-room setup, and once configured, it changed how often I actually use the system. I can move from focused listening on my main rig to whole home playback without rebuilding my signal chain. It feels like the missing link between traditional audio hardware and modern app-driven convenience.
The initial setup was not instant for me, especially when integrating with a receiver that already had multiple input and output paths. I had to be deliberate about source routing and control behavior before everything locked in. But after I finished that work, operation became reliable day to day, and the effort paid off because playback and switching now feel smooth and predictable.
What I value most is synchronization across spaces. I can keep one zone on a dedicated stereo path while other rooms run in step, and that continuity makes everyday listening much more enjoyable. For gatherings, it is especially useful because music stays coherent as people move around. The system finally behaves as one environment instead of disconnected pockets of sound.
I tested it with both analog-style routing and network-based control, and the flexibility is better than I expected. Feeding external gear through line-level connections while still keeping app management active gave me the best of both worlds. I can preserve the character of my preferred hardware and still get practical queuing, grouping, and source handoff when I want convenience.
In listening tests, the biggest practical gain was consistency between sources. I could start with streaming for discovery, then hand off to a more dedicated playback path without losing control of the broader ecosystem. That continuity reduced friction and made me listen more often, because I was no longer choosing between sound quality and convenience every time I wanted music.
I also appreciated how well this kind of device handles household use patterns. Different people can keep separate libraries and playlists while sharing common zones when needed. That matters in real life, where listening preferences vary hour by hour. The platform lets personal sessions and shared sessions coexist, so the system feels flexible instead of forcing one rigid routine for everyone.
From an audio perspective, I found the integration clean enough to be musically satisfying for long sessions. It may not replace every dedicated high-end path in absolute terms, but it performs well enough that I do not feel I am compromising the experience to gain functionality. For everyday listening, the balance between sound quality and usability feels thoughtfully judged.
Price is the hardest part to justify at first glance, and I understand that reaction. But when I measured it against the time saved, the reduction in sync issues, and the increase in actual system use, it made more sense. The value showed up in daily reliability and fewer workarounds, not just in a feature checklist. That practical payoff is what convinced me.
One of my favorite outcomes was finally connecting legacy components into a modern control flow without giving up the feel of my older system. I can still route through external preamp stages and keep tactile hardware in the loop, but now the network layer behaves intelligently. That hybrid approach made the system feel current while respecting the parts I already trust.
I paid close attention to stability over repeated sessions, and once dialed in, the behavior stayed dependable. Grouping rooms, changing sources, and restarting playback all worked with far fewer surprises than my